I'm Bob Lund. I'm a director to the Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District. I'm about to get myself on the ballot, hopefully, for the fourth time for representing my county at the Soil and Water Conservation District. Clearly, therefore, I think it's worth doing. I think it's doable. So I'll mention a couple things up front, which are: be careful to make sure you're getting your forms from the state website. And where appropriate, where it's required, make sure you're printing them double-sided, or get somebody to provide the form to you double-sided. The other thing I will mention is reach out to your county, city registrar, or for me, director of elections, and make sure you understand what they expect you to be delivering. There can be a lot of confusion if you talk to people who you think know, but may not know what they think they know. So be careful with respect to that. So what do you need to do? There's a set of forms that define you as a candidate. And I'll just read off the titles of the forms, and they're, again, available on the state website, and there are lots of sites that will point you to those forms. Just make sure you're getting them from the state website or from your director of elections or your registrar. So the first one is something called Declaration of Candidacy. It's pretty straightforward, but you have to have it notarized. So be careful about that, because you have to have it notarized before you get to your office of elections. Then the next one is called the Certificate of Candidate Qualification. Again, pretty straightforward, and again, needs to be notarized. Then after that, you get to the double-sided forms, which are the Petition of Qualified Voters. These are the voters from your county or your city who are going to support you being on the ballot. And you need 25 valid signatures. So how do you know whether a signature is valid or not? Bottom line is, you don't. The people in the Office of Elections will figure that out. So how do you deal with that? Pretty simple. Get more signatures than you think you need. In the package I've got, I went after and got 38 signatures. Not that hard to do, especially if you can find, some groups of people that you see frequently and hit up multiple people all at once. So if you're going to have 3 or 4 forms with those petitions, each one has to be notarized. All right, so those are what I would call the traditional forms, the forms I've been used to, the 3 prior things I ran for this office. There's some new forms this year that I've run into some confusion about. So I would, on these forms, especially caution you to talk to your director of elections or your registrar. First one that I'll mention is something called Request for Exemption from Reporting Requirements. That can make your life a heck of a lot easier as long as you agree to a whole bunch of restrictions and obligations that are articulated in that form. So one of them is not soliciting or accepting contributions, okay? So whatever you spend on your campaign is going to come out of your own pocket. Then the other one is there's a cap on how much you can spend. You can't spend any more than $1,000. That's an absolute hard limit. And then another significant one is there's a requirement to have opened a separate depository to maintain my election funds. Doesn't matter how much your election funds are. My election funds, my intention is it's 0. I still had to open a separate account. And that got a little bit complicated. So talk to your registrar, to your director of elections, and make sure you understand what they're willing to accept as a separate depository. Because that's a pretty vague phrase. And it's a simple form. You only have to sign it. This one you don't have to have notarized. And then the final one is something called Statement of Organization Candidate Committee. Again, for me, it's something new this year. It's something you do or can do on a state website called COMET, C-O-M-E-T. Fill it out, submit it electronically, print a copy of it, sign the copy you print, bring it to your registrar or director of elections, and then mail a copy to Richmond. But again, talk to your director of elections on all of these things and make sure you're doing what they're expecting you to do, because that's the most important thing, because they are the ones who are going to take your package and who are going to check it and put you on the ballot. So talk to them. So there's one other thing I should mention. Just like with getting more signatures than you absolutely have to have, I would suggest you don't wait till the last minute. I'm turning my package in March to give myself a couple of months buffer between when I'm turning it in and the June 20th deadline for getting your package in. So getting it in early gives you time to deal with problems with petition signatures or anything else that your registrar may find an issue with on your paperwork. So here I'm at the office itself, and I'm about to go in and turn in my package. So now I'm going to turn my package over to my director of elections to figure out what I got right and what, hopefully, nothing I got wrong. Diana, here it is.
Thank you very much. All right, everything looks good. So what we will do now is go through and check your petitions, get that all taken care of. And it is our courtesy as we try to get it done as quickly as possible so that you know when you're certified.
I appreciate that.
Easy as that.
Okay, so, and you can do this as well.